Brooklyn Independent Television.
And welcome to the In the Zone. And this week we are here at the Sty Dome. And boy, the Sty Dome is full of gentrification these days. I mean, if you look around, they have several sponsors, right? Things have really changed over here. Oh, yeah. It really reflects the neighborhood on the outside. It's really moving on up to the inside. I look around, I can see you guys are really developing quite a program here. It's also the home of Bedford Academy basketball.
Yeah, there's some major changes going on in Bed-Stuy in general, and you're absolutely right. The Sty Dome is a reflection of what's going on in the area. And we're very, very excited about the way we have been accepted and greeted in this neighborhood, and also the things that we've been able to provide as far as basketball instruction. As you mentioned, Bedford Academy, home court, and people come to see the games. And it's a really tremendous atmosphere that's been created right here in Bed-Stuy.
You know, you got to do is follow the money, you know, follow you. And then what we have here is also Elio Velez of MSG. Elio, welcome.
Thanks, man. Good to be back.
Good to be back. Haven't seen you quite a while. What have you been up to?
I've been all right. We're high school season is really going now with the basketball season and everything, and you know, we're getting to playoff time, so now we got to start looking and breaking down the numbers and everything.
And you know what? That's a perfect lead-in. Speaking of the playoffs, let's talk about those teams, the top teams, especially in boys basketball. The Rail Splitters.
We always talk about Brooklyn basketball. I think, you know, I've always said that's the best league in the city.
That lead to the championship?
I think all roads that lead to the Brooklyn AA, it goes through Brooklyn. Okay. You have the top teams in the city there. There's no doubt about it. You start with Abraham Lincoln. That's a team that's the last few years have fallen short at reaching the championship and winning a championship. Boys and girls won the last 3 years, and this is a year I think
Boys and girls is really struggling this year, but South Shore is doing quite well.
Boys and girls are young, but they beat Christ King a few weeks ago, and they might make some noise in the playoffs. I can't say you can't count them out. Okay. South Shore is also pretty good. Right. Terrence Samuel is now going to UConn. He's very committed and driven. Shamik Shepard's playing very well. Jefferson, with Sun Jaquan Lynch and Jeremy Faison and those guys, they're very explosive. They can win any game.
The boys and girls is also having internal struggles too, politically.
Well, they're also young too. They lost a lot of talent. Leroy Truck Flood, who was a player of the year, many critics, he's gone. They don't have that one big guy, but they're very young. Marvin Prochet is a pretty good player. Courtney Darnley's still trying to find a shot. Wesley Myers is getting better as the season goes along. And with Ruth Lovelace, when they get to the playoffs, you can't discount them. So that's why those teams are going to.
That is true, but Lincoln is playing heads and shoulders above the rest.
Isaiah Whitehead is really showing how great of a player he is. He's only a junior, D1s, all that, you know.
He is the type of player without the problems. Well, that's another conversation. Right? But I heard he's really a tremendous.
He's a tremendous
player and also a tremendous person.
Tremendous person, tremendous. He's getting to be a better leader on the floor, and he's really getting that team together. And they have a lot of talent. I could see Abraham Lincoln definitely making the championship. They have the talent to do it.
Winning the state?
Well, let's see if they got to get to Brooklyn. Let's see who they face.
No, what I was going to say is what this is an example of year after year is that the coaching and the systems that are in place seem to prevail year after year. Yeah. You have Ruth Lovelace and Elma Anderson over at Boys and Girls High School, and as they plug the players in and as the season progresses, they always seem to be there, and Lincoln's always there, and Jefferson. And South Shore has been a surprise. South Shore has done a tremendous job.
And Transit Tech. Let's not forget
Transit
about
Tech also.
That's a team you don't want to face in the playoffs, man. They're very sleeper, you know, so that's a tough team to face, too.
As far as the Manhattan side and the Bronx side, you have Wings.
Wings Academy is still, you know, the favorite. You know, Billy Turner does a great job up there, and they're a team that's also fallen short, agonizing in the last few years, so they really want to make the chip. You know, you still got Cardozo and those teams, but
Cardozo's somewhat struggling.
It's kind of struggling too. They don't have the stars they used to. Bayside's pretty decent also, but you know, Wings is I think one of the best teams also.
Take anything away from Ron McClary over there, Cardozo.
Once again, it's the system. Year after year, these guys you can pencil them in. But let's not forget our Bedford Academy Panthers right here from the Sty Dome. Tremendous team, tremendous coach, tremendous system. Coach Rob Phelps and Phil Hayes, they do a tremendous.
Top team in their division, right?
Yeah, right now they're tied with Erasmus for first place. In fact, as we speak, they're getting ready to go head to head to see who's going to take first place.
And Erasmus really has turned things around basketball-wise after being a football powerhouse.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they won the championship, I think, in 1996. That's the last time I've seen the the Big Four Brooklyn teams not win it. Curtis, too. Hassan Martin going to Rhode Island. That's a steal for them. They're a very good team, too.
That was a team that was trying to really come into the city, right? I've been playing in Manhattan, one of the divisions in Manhattan.
They wanted to join the Manhattan division. They wanted to face against PSAL's teams in the regular season instead of non-leagues. But that didn't happen. They stayed in Staten Island. But they faced the big teams,
they'll
though.
continue to be, dominate Staten Island.
Right, they dominate Staten Island, but they've played against the top teams. They played Lockland. They've placed those teams. That's a team that I can see go to the at least quarterfinals and maybe the semifinals, too.
As far as the girls, always Murray Bertram, South Shore High School also.
It's always Murray Bertram. I think every year we say, what can Ed Grzinski do? And this is his time. This is his time. He goes to all the games. He maps out. He's a former defensive football coordinator, so he maps out everything. And he sees college, he sees high school games. He knows how to break it down. South Shore is really good this year. I think they have a really good shot.
Last year, unfortunately, they fell
Right,
in the
but-
playoffs. Right. All right. But here we're going to continue our conversation a little bit. As you know, gentlemen, that recovery effort is just an ongoing thing. But we're going to move back to basketball, where in terms of high school sports, also you got to look at what about Catholic side, Zavarian.
Zavarian, yeah, these are good teams. I mean, the Catholic League is always competitive. There's always 5 to 7 teams that always has a good shot of winning a title. Lockland, I think, is a very good team. Kadeem Carrington, the junior, has attracted a lot of eyes. I mean, St. John's is looking at this guy. This guy is a heck of a player. 6'3", can get to the basket, can shoot from the outside. He's a good player, and they've got a good team.
All right, playoffs. How do you see the playoff picture?
The Catholic League can go anywhere. Christ the King, they're in it. Lockland, Zavarian, St. Raymond's pretty good. Cardinal Hayes. I could see it even. It can go any other way.
Boys PSAL, Eric?
I think in the boys PSAL.
You went to Cardozo anyway, right?
No, I'm from the Bronx, man. I went to Truman.
Oh, anyway. Okay, go ahead.
Boys PSAL, I think we're back with Lincoln. I think Lincoln is once again going to be very, very strong, very, very tough to get by. But I'm always pulling for boys and girls high school because of Elmer Anderson, St. Bonaventure graduate.
Here, Bedford Academy.
I got to go for my Bedford Academy Panthers.
And then the girls, Murray Bertram, right?
Murray Bertram.
I think I can see Murray Bertram, South Shore face each other in the final, but you got to go with the favorite. I think it's Bertram.
And let's move on to the pro side. Brooklyn Nets, the All-Star break is about to approach us pretty soon. And as far as what sort of impact have the Nets had on Brooklyn, New York City, financially, emotionally, basketball in general? I know you have some of the after effects because I see all these sponsors here. So it's pretty good to you. Which is wrong with that? Because it should be some spillage over.
Well, absolutely, but let's start with, let's say, the grassroots. Just basketball in general is the buzz in New York City. When you have both teams that are good, I mean, there were times when you could ride by a park in New York City in the summertime and it'd be empty. And it went like that for years. When the Knicks were down, basketball was down. But when you have both teams that are good, the parks are packed, man. Kids are playing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's about they want to see teams being relevant, and for a while the Knicks just weren't very good. But now the Knicks have gotten better. The Nets have come in and made an impact right away. Well, the Nets have made an impact. Well, not only they're here, but they're winning. And I think if you're winning, people are gonna get more attention. And the Nets are winning right now, and that's much better. They made that change with Avery Johnson, coach PJ Carlesimo, and it's worked. And now they're getting better, and the fans are coming out.
What was the problem you felt they had with Avery Johnson?
I just think there was a disconnect. There was just disconnect between Deron Williams, a couple of the players, and it just wasn't working out. And they wanted to win right away. They had to make a change.
So there's no chance of Phil Jackson coming in, and also PJ Carlesimo learned his lesson well.
Yeah, but he's doing a great job. But anytime you change coaches, we see in the NBA and a lot of different sports, there's always this jump. But fortunately for the Nets, it has continued, and it looks like that they're on the right track to be a real contender.
That's what Mike Woodson did when he took over last year for the Knicks. They weren't doing well in Mike D'Antoni, and look what he did. He got them to the playoffs. They played much better. They really like what he does. Defensive style of game, got a lot of players involved, and it's working out.
And as far as community outreach from the Nets, are you feeling that also?
Absolutely. The one thing great that we find having both teams in a very positive situation and moving forward is that they compete. And competition in everything, whether it's automobiles, whether it's in restaurants, competition is good. So having the Knicks and the Nets compete both on the court and off the court, everybody's benefiting.
So they're both teams are competing for eyeballs.
For eyeballs, and even something as simple as customer service. When you go to a Net game now, I mean, you really are treated like a king. And this has forced the Knicks to up their game. No longer when
take it for granted, right?
when you go into the Garden before, you know, the minute the game is over, they want to throw you out and this that.
Where else you
It's
gonna
not
go?
right,
Go.
exactly. But now it's not like that. The Nets have caused them to up their game, and I think that we all benefit from that, both on the court, off the court, and just the whole atmosphere around basketball in New York in general.
I think there's just more excitement that everybody, you know, in the wintertime, people just, when they weren't doing well, it was like, okay, let's just wait for baseball and that to start. But now both teams are doing well. They're contenders in the Eastern Conference, and they're winning. And those games, the Nets and Knicks games, are competitive. They got people's attention. People talk about it the next morning. And that's what these teams want. They want that attention, and they're playing well. That's why they're doing it.
Financially, have you felt it?
Here at the
Especially you, yeah.
yeah, here at the Stardome, absolutely, because we do a.
Like I said, man, you have sponsors everywhere.
Well, the Brooklyn Stardome is the #1 basketball facility in New York now. So, and yeah, we felt it because more and more kids want to play the game, and we do some top-notch, high-level instructional basketball here. And the more kids that want to play, the more kids that need instruction, and the parents are looking for the best places to place them. And this is
over, right?
game over, baby. This is the place. We have the best coaches and the best instruction anywhere. So.
Hey, well, you know, for those that want to check out that skee ball, Williamsburg is the place. So, gentlemen, we are continuing our conversation about the Nets and this team and the impact. As far as financially, you were saying before that they have made an impact on Brooklyn in general.
Yeah, I believe that as the popularity of the Brooklyn Nets grow, more and more kids play, more and more people are into basketball. It has helped us. We do a camp/clinic every Saturday morning here from 10 to 12, and the numbers increase every week because everybody's looking for instruction, great coaching, and things like that.
Are the Knicks also looking to infiltrate Brooklyn on a financial perspective? And do you have the Knicks maybe knocking at your door?
Well, I was involved with the Knicks for, I think it was 4 to 6 years, involved with their camps and apparel and things like that. And we have talked. So we are the Brooklyn Stardome, so that's appealing to the Knicks. But if the,
from a marketing perspective,
well, yeah, well, being that it's the Brooklyn Stardome, it's a natural thing that the Nets would want to get involved. But the Knicks want to put their flag in Brooklyn also. They're not just laying down and giving up the territory.
And money's money, right? Got to take it. Hey, go.
No, I think that the Nets' impact, you've seen it with the kids. You've seen them wearing the shirts and the hats and everything like that. And that creates the groundwork for the next few years for them to become, when they get to the workforce, maybe go buy tickets and support the team like that. This is a long-term process.
Right. So therefore, hopefully the Nets will not be moving to another city.
The Nets are not moving to the city, but the Nets need to keep winning and build the foundation so people will go out there.
And what he's saying is very interesting. The Nets are targeting that young audience that can grow up and be Net fans, cultivating that fan base at an early age.
None of one has the memories that we have from Long Island to New Jersey.
Clyde, Nerlin, DeBusschere, you're always going to be, exactly.
Right. Now, speaking of kids, overbearing parents that have just lose their minds when their kids are playing basketball, football, participating in sports.
Well, what it is that there's so much money in sports, and college and going to college has become so expensive. Sometimes a parent, unfortunately, their only plan for their kids to go to college is for them to be able to excel at sports, and it's really kind of unfair. It puts a lot of pressure on kids, and some of the parents are just out of control.
There's a lot of media attention when it comes to, especially when we talk about young kids and how talented they are, what they could do. And I think sometimes they push these kids so much, and then the atmosphere they're also involved in is a very highly charged, very competitive, you know, and this comes to play a big part of the kids.
On the other side, the parents are involved because there's so many parents who are not involved with their children.
I agree.
So, I mean, are we being hypocrites one way?
We're not saying all parents are that way. Okay. We're talking about sometimes they're the parents who just, don't take a deep breath and don't think.
Right.
And they hurt the kids. That's what, if they're in it for the kids, that's what we should be for.
Yeah, you know, it's a double-edged sword. You absolutely want the parents to be involved, but basketball and sports in general, to me, the most important thing is that the kid gets involved and has fun and have a good time. Now, you can't go to a park and see kids playing without some old coach from 19 whatever coming out and saying, that's the wrong way to take a layup, or this is how you're supposed to. Just let the kid have fun. And if he learns to love the game and can develop
The parents know that the stakes are so high these days that they're trying to get their kids in school. They don't want to pay $40,000, $50,000 a year. It's just, to attend school. That's a lot of money.
I understand, and there's those financial pressures
So
and
you
everything.
got to push,
You could,
John or Bebe or Ray Ray.
Well, you could, if they have the talent.
Into a sport.
But if you look at the statistics as to how many kids actually get to play Division I basketball.
But here's another hypocritical thing. You know what? Oh, you can be anything. And then as he gets older, you know what? That basketball, hang that up, just get yourself a job.
Well, I'm just going to say I never want to step on any kid's dream as far as wanting to be anything. But there has to be some kind of balance. I mean, are you going to make your kid do suicides or run laps when he gets a math problem wrong? Are you going to scold him, if he does bad on a science test and he has to do 50 push-ups? Well, you just have to have some balance.
You can't do that anymore these days.
Well, but when it comes to basketball, there's a lot of punishing. You're doing a lot of emphasis on the athletics.
But look at one thing. All right, okay, I'm going to do it. All right? I guess he can come after me. All right. Anyway, look at Lance Stephenson's father. Some folks say that he was overbearing. But he was successful in getting his son to the pros. Right? I mean, you can't, in one angle, you can say, you know what? Some folks, his father's not there, but his father was there for him.
Absolutely. I mean,
and he was criticized a lot. Let's face it. I know you guys don't want to talk about it, but you know what? The goal was met.
He was there for Lance.
Right.
And he supported Lance.
It was a whole family effort.
But that's what it was.
Well, but let's take it away from Lance. Let's just talk about success in general.
Okay. Right.
We have to understand that life is a marathon. Right. And there's a lot of people that make it to the pros who are not successful. They make it to the pros and they're successful in basketball, but after that, they could be flat broke. They could have all kinds of problems in life because everything was put into this one thing and wasn't put into the development of a young man or the development of a human being to last a long time. So just making it to the pros is not the top of, it's not the end of the story.
Yeah, it can't just be tunnel vision, look one way. You always got to look at the big picture. You always got to make sure if this doesn't happen, what do I have to fall back on? That's what parents should do. Tell their kids you have this opportunity, but then also think about anything else that you might like and cultivate that. That's what makes the kid successful in their
the
time.
limelight, man, that's where it's at. That's what some people think.
But there's only, less than 3% of kids who go to college, become NBA players. There's only 400 jobs. What happens if you don't get that job? Do you have something else to fall back on and become a productive citizen? Yeah,
there's still a lot of life that has to be lived after the age of 35 when your athletic career is over. Yeah. So it's a marathon.
Well, gentlemen, thanks for coming on. It was great having you guys. You guys were pretty good this time. All right. And that's a wrap up for us here on In the Zone. I'm Micheal Bellamy from the Sky Dome in Brooklyn. Take care. Have a safe week. Bye-bye.
Watch this and other Brooklyn Independent Television episodes online at brickartsmedia.org/BIT.